Hello and welcome to the 5 minutes to pass your exam for Advanced Audit and Assurance. The expectation at this stage is synthesis and evaluation. These requirements are the way you need to communicate and apply your knowledge in the exam. They are a list of verbs that you need to ensure you apply the appropriate response to in your exam question. When presented with an exam question, you should have an easy process on how to convert this into an answer that will get you at least 50% of the marks. My suggestion would be 1. Read the question carefully. Take your time in thinking about an approach and solution. If you start writing too quickly, you will miss key points and marks. And remember, answer the question asked. 2. Cover the whole syllabus, but concentrate on the key areas that I discuss later. 3. Make sure you're applying a solution to the scenario. A good way of doing this is making sure that each recommendation or suggestion that you make can be tied into an issue identified or highlighted in the case study or scenario. If not, it is not relevant to the solution. And 4. Use the examiner reports and articles on ACCA website. These are key resources and if used properly will definitely increase the marks you receive in the exam. It is important to know what you are facing when going into your exam. AAA is a 3-hour 15-minute exam with all compulsory questions. Planning is vital, so allocate the first 15 minutes to this without starting to write an exam answer. Section A is one question worth 50 marks. This section covers a number of areas including audit risk and analytical procedures, audit procedures for goodwill, audit strategy from component auditor, and ethical considerations and additional services. These are big syllabus areas requiring a lot of knowledge and application in an exam. In section B, there are 2 questions worth 25 marks each. Key syllabus areas for question 2 are schedule of uncorrected misstatements, impact on auditor's opinion, and ethical and professional issues. Question 3 is identified by acceptance and PFI engagement and quality control. From a time management perspective, I would recommend splitting the requirements into smaller sections for planning, especially for question 1. In previous exams, some of the things that students did well were in the area of risk assessment, especially business risk. Other positives were audit and other procedures and identifying ethical issues. Areas where improvement is needed are the fact that students are not fully developing answers and time management is a continuing concern for AAA. There are areas that are consistently weak, specifically auditors' reports. And finally, a better knowledge of ISAs, IFRSs and basic accounting is required to answer questions in a thorough manner. Here's an example of a strong answer and a weak answer. This could be the difference between no marks and 2 marks in an exam that could easily make your 49 a 51. Note that in both answers there is action taken and an outcome targeted of what will be done, such as obtain a copy of the calculation and the source documents to understand the calculation. This is a massively more comprehensive answer than just reviewing the management calculation. It provides no idea of how to go about getting the information or what you do when you get it. Now we will look at putting an answer together. This contains more advice than answer content, but try to apply this logic for all solutions when you write in the exam. Your planning time is key to creating an answer that gets high marks. You've been asked to identify and explain relevant business risks. Relevant is a key word as the examiner is not looking for a list of business risks, but those that are related to the scenario of the company provided, in this case in its cafes and restaurants. I'm going to start by explaining a business risk in full, enough to get you a solid 2 marks for each business risk fully explained. Your answer should recognise that the breach of regulation will mean that a lot of cash will have to be paid out by the client in order to make the necessary upgrade or improvement to the cafe equipment. This could put a strain on the cash resources. Notice how there is no textbook definition given for business risk. It is not asked for and you will get no marks, so do not do it. Also, I have not classified this as a financial, compliance or operational risk. It does not matter about the classification, it is a business risk and that is enough. Lastly, it is essential to explain what may happen as a result of the risk, which means less cash available for normal business activities. Some of you are probably shouting at the screen now saying that you would have talked about breach of regulations leading to fines, etc. This is a perfectly valid risk, but it needs to be explained separately in order to get another 2 marks. Put it in a separate paragraph. It is a new point so it could get 2 more marks. Don't let it get lost in a long commentary. Make sure the examiner sees the point. The wording here is a good example of how to make a key point in a succinct way to maximize marks. Notice also how I've not talked about a strain on cash resources again. I did this in the first point, so I don't really need to repeat it again. I have not said that the issue leads to ongoing concern problems. It may well be the case that the going concern is threatened, but only mention going concern once in a business risk question and save it for the most serious issue. We do not know what that is here because there's only a small extract from the whole scenario. But just remember that going concern is not always threatened by business risk, and we do not want too much repetition. There is one final point to make concerning this example. If numbers are given in a business risk question, then use them to calculate a relevant trend and refer to that trend in your narrative answer. This could be up to 3 marks available for using relevant trends you've calculated. So there's AAA exam in 5 minutes. Apply this advice throughout your study and use for each question during exam bootcamp, and you'll give yourself a great chance of passing. With a pass rate of 30%, take nothing for granted, but don't think it's impossible. Best of luck.